It's Thursday for Brave New Coin. Let's take a look at some legacy charts. Start with the usual correlations in the VIX. VIX continues to slowly march its way lower. I don't really have a great read on it in general, but if it continues to droop lower, that would be the most bullish scenario. The most bearish scenario would be a spike back to 35 plus on lockdown coronavirus stuff. That's a potential impetus for that situation. Otherwise, the lower this thing goes, the more bullish we generally are on BTC and ETH over the past however many years this has existed, dating back since 2010. So, it's not a perfect signal, but in general, if these spikes happen, we get a big spike down on BTC. So the inverse correlation is quite strong, which is why I pay attention to it every week. And seeing this droop gives me joy. So hopefully this doesn't spike up, because then that means the crypto party is probably over in the near term. The DXY correlation is mainly negative, or at least has been since 2017, with a few positive mini spikes. And it looks like that correlation is ending here now, the positive one. And that doesn't make me too bullish BTC, because Dixie looks incredibly primed for bullish reversal to 95, 96. I'll get to that. I've been talking about that for a while now. But if that moves up, if Dixie moves up, those would be the most bearish things to watch for. The gold correlation is weird. We've, I guess, mainly been positive, really, but since 2021, it's just been gold and BTC have not gotten along in the correlation department. So no real signal there anymore. It's just kind of weird. People like to hope BTC is risk off, but in reality, it acts more like a risk on vehicle, which is why it correlates to stocks so well. 10-year note still holds a high positive correlation, as does the Nikkei. Now the SPX and NDX correlation, that was basically 100%, dropped off to negative territory over the past few weeks. This is a 30-day rolling, so it's going to average the past month, but also unusual. We don't hold negative correlations for a significant period of time historically. So I think collectively, this is just a very weird picture, because we're not correlated to gold or stocks and correlating to Dixie more than anything other than the 10-year note and Nikkei, while the VIX is still at 15 and declining. So it's very weird. And the indices, as many people have been saying for weeks, including myself, just looked primed for a mega gigantic reversal down candle. Here's the DXY. Pretty good case for inverted head and shoulders to 95 to 96. The cloud likes 96. A lot of the crypto charts that have been playing out over the past week looked exactly like this before they broke up to their flat Kumo magnet area, which is just a 50% retracement from a high to a low. And if that plays out, we probably are not bullish BTC based on those correlations historically. Hence why I talk about it every week. If this thing moves up, you'll want to know. Here's the gold chart. Always reminds me of Toucan Sam for some reason, but it is a giant hot mess of gobbledygook, nothing going on, just mega ranging sideways, big down spikes. I don't really know what causes something like that. People were talking a lot about it a couple days ago, but no bull div here just yet. MA's flip-flopping on themselves, just no trend. I can't imagine trading this or wanting to trade this over anything else right now. Just looks miserable. Silver, big spike down as well. I think the ascending triangle dream is officially dead at this point in time. It's going to get a death cross here in a couple days. I'm still holding my position. It is what it is. I don't really care. So, if this thing goes back to 20 or lower, whatever. But over the longer term, I still like it. SPX, just as a multi-month bearish div. This whole thing has really just been a bear div. It hasn't touched the 200-day moving average since early 2020, so it's been 450 days. So we're definitely due for a spike to 4K, basically, is what that would be. The difficult thing is being bearish on anything that looks like this, right? Like, it gives me pause to want to long anything that looks like this up here. But if you're not in at all, you're just missing out on this stupidity madness, right? 2x from the bottom. What else do you want? But it definitely looks different than it did with all these mean reversions compared to now, because it hasn't even dropped below the 50 for the most part. Just incredibly strong off of endless money printing, I guess. NASDAQ very similar. Arguably just a continuous bearish divergence since mid 2020. So it's hard to want to be mega long when anything looks like that. GME kind of crumbling at the seams here. It had a chance for ascending triangle stuff, much like silver. Now it's at the 200, risking its first death cross since late 2020. That'll take some time to play out, probably 2 or 3 weeks, but not anything I would want to catch a knife on, not anything I would want to be holding if I'm underwater. It just, it's GME, right? So AMC has looked tragic for several weeks now, and it's probably working on some sort of wedge to the 200-day moving average at around 22. It had an M double top to kind of set all this off. Inverted Adam and Eve. And again, this isn't anything I would want to be holding. Coin has had a savage, brutal beatdown over the past couple days. Bearish divergence here as well to mark that top. So I like 245. Nice volume cushion down here. The 200 period moving average down here. Overall, this thing has basically just ranged from 200 to 275 since listing. And we can compare that against BTC. It's just kind of droopy, bearish against ETH, fairly bearish with a growing bullish divergence. Against BNB, it looks like it's about to slip significantly. And then against FTT, it is just mega doom. So obviously a stock is different than a cryptocurrency or an exchange's cryptocurrency, but it's always worth looking at these weird pairs to see what's going on, right? Because you have a choice. You can either be long coin, you can be long FTT, right? You can be holding USD. So either you're rotating out of FTT and into coin here based on charts that look like this. There's a bullish divergence. You could be rotating into coin from BNB, rotating into coin from ETH, rotating into coin from BTC, right? Depending on your longer term outlooks of things. Sort of taking profits from this stuff and rotating it into coin, just as an example. Definitely a bit odd that FTT has pumped as hard as it has relative to coin. Looking at MSTR, they hold a significant amount of crypto, about 80% plus correlation with BTC. This thing has ripped to nearly 800 again. Anything past 800 is probably a significantly bullish sentiment indicator for BTC. And it looks like it's well on its way to that level. So rangy, yeah, choppy, yeah, but still, it's not death knell stuff that it was a couple weeks ago for MSTR. And now there's a bunch of support here at 622. So as a buy, it certainly looks better at that level. Tesla probably the strongest of the bunch. This looks like a mini inverted head and shoulders flag situation up here. I've seen this before, where it's like this high and tight flag, inverted head and shoulders. I don't know if it's like a known pattern, but I've definitely seen that somewhere. I don't know where, can't remember when, but it's definitely a thing where you get something like this. So this definitely looks like bullish continuation to me. Defies logic, defies fundamentals, and it's above VPVR, above the 50% retracement level. At that point, above 724. So this thing looks fine. Of all the meme stonks, this one actually looks pretty decent. It's got a bullish 5200 cross on the 4 hour as well. Square hit all-time highs earlier this week. Looks a little bit tired to me, but again, they hold a significant amount of crypto. So the better these do, the better it is for all of crypto, really. Coin, Square, Tesla, MSTR, that group. I'll throw in DOGE and Robinhood as well. DOGE, a meme stonk on Robinhood, obviously. Pretty big bearish divergence here. Makes sense that it's pulling back. It actually had a bullish 5200 cross on the 4 hour, the first one since post May 18th. So a lot of people got extremely bullish on this, or telling people to pile into this. Whatever, have fun, I guess. But it's not really for me at this point. This thing certainly isn't worth what it's at now. Robinhood had a bit of a crazy spike. Really decent, again, inverted Adam and Eve, much like AMC. And now it's just slowly, crawling down lower, lower, lower. You're probably going to see eventually a bullish divergence here on lower time frames. MA is telling you this thing obviously not bullish on the 5-minute. You know, the thing with stocks is they're not 24/7, so you get a lot less data over a normal human lifetime. You know, like in a week you only get so many prints on the daily, and you just, to me, it's obviously less of a read on things relative to crypto. I feel like I don't get the full picture with legacy stuff because it's closed so many hours of the day, right? And the weekend. But even still, this is not bullish for Hood, certainly. GBTC did have a bull cross. Talked about that last week. That was very likely here with that spike back up. It still looks fine. You know, BTC needs still look fine, even with the pullback today. Eventually, this probably retests the 200 weeks or months from now. I don't know, but trend-wise, it looks like death has been abated for the moment. No bull div or no bear div on this high, even at this level. ETH also looks fine. It's really held its 5200 cross pretty well. Had a bull div at the bottom there, above all this volume stuff now. So it could push by the end of this year for an effective all-time high past listing even. So this looks decent, even though the discount is still negative, or there still is a discount. BTC discount has been around 10%, and LTC and BCH premiums have shrunk dramatically. This thing's still at negative 33%. I don't know what they're going to do with ETC. I don't know if are they hoping to convert this into an ETF? That would be a bit of a sick joke if it actually happens, but that's certainly the hope for this product and probably this product in order to get that back to parity with spot. But I fully expect the LTC and BCH products to just continue to trend into discount because unlocks just continue to happen by the looks of it. That's one of the reasons why these premiums decay so hard, because you get these massive unlocks. And if there's still a premium when you unlock, you sell. Most likely, if there's a discount when the unlock happens, you're less likely to sell at a loss against spot. I think as early as like last week, this was a 300% premium. So that unlock happened extremely recently. Then on the CME Futures contracts, we had a bit of a, I guess, gamma squeeze. I don't know enough about options to really talk about that intelligently, but that was part of the reason why this thing catapulted as hard as it did, despite kind of just drooping into the ultimate death zone of breaking multi-month lows, breaking that January open. Some whale stepped in and just bought a crazy amount of options in thin liquidity to kind of reverse this. There was that conference with Elon and Saylor and Cathie Wood. So there was some stuff that happened that needed to happen in order for this thing to finally catch a bid, and that's what happened. But it did, by the looks of it, break this trend, which historically on these biannual contracts has been either up or down. This is probably the strongest case against this seasonality or hypothesis or whatever you want to call it, because we did make a higher high past a local high. We haven't made a higher high beyond the open just yet, and it has until September 24th to do so. But someone else was asking me about seasonality today, and I said maybe with China out of the picture that things are going to be different going forward. You know, I doubt it. In general, Q3 has not been super bullish for BTC. It's mainly been a Q2 and Q4 show. So ideally, even though we're neutral to whatever Q3, we turn the corner hard in Q4 and flip this puppy bullish once again. Lastly, I'll just mention the ETH-BTC fund and DeFi portfolio I trade for Techemy Capital and Enzyme .finance non-custodial portfolio management tool, where you can see everything, including AUM, allocation, performance, all the trades I make, and when and where, all of the lending stuff I'm doing through Yearn, and you can see withdrawals, deposits as well. I was waiting for some sort of pullback to add to ETH and BTC positions, just because I wasn't about to buy ETH after it was up 20 days in a row. That's just not a positive EV thing generally. So it was about 50 to 60% crypto over the past couple weeks for that reason. That's all I have for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.